The Insurance Crime Bureau is a non-profit company dedicated to fighting organized insurance crimes and fraud. The 2022 ICB Annual Report was released a week ago, and I've decided to catch up with Garth de Klerk, CEO, about the latest report. Garth, it's great to catch up, and I'm looking forward to our chat.
Thanks very much, Rianet, and thanks as always for the opportunity to talk about insurance fraud and crime.
Yes, it's your passion, and we're going to hear a bit more now about that. So just to set the scene with a brief introduction of the Insurance Crime Bureau, just expand for the people who are not 100% au fait of where the ICB fits in, a short history maybe. Can you share that with us?
Sure. So as you said, the Insurance Crime Bureau is a non-profit organization. It is an industry body which was established back in 2008 with the intent to detect, mitigate, investigate, and prosecute insurance fraud and the related crimes. Now, as you know, Rianet, and we'll discuss it during our chat this morning, insurance fraud in South Africa is a contact sport. We don't necessarily have fraud that you can investigate from behind a desk. We have to be able to get out there in the community. And that's what's so important in the Insurance Crime Bureau, is that it's created by the community of insurance licenses wanting to make a difference in combating fraud for South Africa.
You've just released your 2022 report. Maybe you can start by sharing the most important milestones you have reached in the last year.
Sure, thank you. So I think firstly, the most important thing is that the concept of community has continued to strengthen. The existing insurance licenses that have invested in the Insurance Crime Bureau are continuing to see an attractive financial return as well as a return on effort. So the concept of community has continued to strengthen. Through that strengthening of community, we have been able to attract new member companies to participate and fund the Insurance Crime Bureau. So we're not dependent on only existing contributors to continue to fund the growth. We are very happy to say that new participants are coming to the table with a checkbook saying that they want to be part of making a difference in South Africa. Now, very briefly, what that's led to is we are now a non-profit organization. However, we are financially sustainable. We've built up a very strong reserve. You will see within the report that the financials are solid. The reserve has increased to the point that the Insurance Crime Bureau now could withstand at least 6 to 7 months of expenses on its own. So really positive year, great results. It's built up over the last 5 years of our strategy. And we're very happy, Rianet, with the positioning that we're finding ourselves in.
Well, it's clear that you are making a difference, and it is clear that crime and fraud is a real issue in our industry. So a little bit later, more about that a little bit later. So in light of my last question, I think it's important that you maybe just highlight the return on investment for members. Can you quickly just high level share those figures with us?
Sure. So very high level, and again, it's covered in the report in more detail, but return on investment is a measure, very briefly, that reflects the real monetary return that our member companies will enjoy. So it's a physical rand value return. Now, currently it's sitting at 792% as at the end of June 2022. Now, that means that if you had contributed R1 million, you would have received 7.9 million rand back. That's life to date, which means that over the period 2008 to 2022, we've had almost 800% return, which is fantastic. If you're investing in that in the stock exchange, fantastic. For the year 2022 alone, the return has increased to almost 2,000%. So in 12 months, again, if you had paid R1 million, you would have had over 20 million rand back in return. Oh, that's fantastic. And that doesn't include the softer ROE, the return on effort, and the ability to clean up the environment, which we will probably discuss a little bit later.
Well, it is definitely a no-brainer to be a member, clearly. And Garth, in terms of non-life operations, what are your biggest concerns, high level?
So on the non-life side, it's the increased physicality around crime. Please, referring to the annual report again, we put in inserts or excerpts rather of the crime stats of South Africa for the first quarter. And you'll see dramatic increases in physical crime, in murder, robbery, rape, contact crimes, over 140,000 contact crimes in 3 months. So the physicality of crime is continuing to increase. And specifically on the non-life side, we are seeing that. There are specific drivers around crime that we are examining at the moment, being opportunistic, poverty, and then syndicated professional crime. And we are seeing that all three of those drivers have increased over the last year or so. So that's a real challenge on the non-life side, seeing the volumes of claims related to those drivers increasing.
On the life side?
So on the life side, we think that it's more syndicated, a little bit more professional. People are having to spend time, sit down and figure out opportunistic crimes that they can commit. But we're seeing a lot of murder for money. We're seeing a lot of serial killers. We see syndicates that are professionally murdering people for financial benefits. They are ensuring that when they sign a financial policy, their paperwork is in place, the beneficiaries are in order, there's approved insured benefits, etc., in order for them to facilitate the death and then claim on the policy. So we're focusing in specific hotspots within South Africa. We put feet on the street in specific hotspots in South Africa, and we are looking to, again, investigate, mitigate, and prosecute these syndicates that are killing our fellow South Africans.
The life side is actually quite scary, like you said, because on the short-term side, it's a lot of the times just things that happen and it's in the moment a lot of the times. Where on the life side, goodness, you really have to plan this thing, and it's very hectic.
And it is, and it's something that we cannot ignore the reality around. Quite often we are seeing, again, driven by poverty, driven by opportunity, families are plotting literally to take out family members. We are investigating at least 3 instances at the moment where, and it is quite interesting, females are the kingpins of the syndicates, and they have been involved in multiple murders of relations and family members. We always say that if you're a husband, be very careful. Your wife is clever, and they are now starting to emerge as one of the most prolific serial killers. So we're investigating a number of those type of cases, as you mentioned.
Yo, that is so scary. Goodness. Anyway, we always talk about technology and how it's changing the way we do business. We talk about the positive side. How has technology changed the crime scene over the year? I assume it's brought in a whole new element of crime and catching culprits. So it helps you, but it also enhanced or increased the amount of crimes, right?
So it works both ways. Technology definitely plays a role. We always believe in the fact that you have to have humans behind technology. Technology by itself is not going to win the fight. You always need the human behind the technology to go and arrest the criminal. However, we're seeing increased tools. I won't mention all of them, but there are some sophisticated increased tools that allow us to identify bodies, that allow us to confirm the person who has in fact died, that allow us to check fingerprints, handwriting, etc. So a lot of tools that are being brought into play. But the most important piece of technology remains the ability to share, to sweat, and to then disseminate intelligence from data. That's the most important part, to be able to collate relevant data, sweat that data, and then share the intelligence from the outcome is definitely the most important technology. And we're seeing a lot of that in the claims process being moved into the underwriting process to ensure that we avoid the crime at underwriting. And I think that's a big leap forward in both the non-life and the life side of the businesses.
Yeah. Are we winning the fight against crime, specifically in the insurance and financial services space?
So I always smile when I hear this, are we winning the fight? We don't know how big the fight is, and that's the problem. It's very difficult to measure the impact that you are having if you don't know how big the problem is. Are we making a difference? Without doubt. We have a number of cases in front of high courts, in front of magistrates, in front of various prosecutorial legislators, where without doubt we are making a difference. We are taking hardcore criminals, murderers, rapists, child traffickers, etc., off the street. So definitely making a difference. If you take a look at the crime stats continuously increasing, that only shows us that we have to work harder.
Yeah. How big is your team, Garth?
We now have 51 members in the Insurance Crime Bureau. However, if you take a look at the team of the Insurance Crime Bureau, it's thousands of people within the industry. You know, you're part of the team.
Yeah, true.
You make a difference by creating that awareness and telling people, listen, you know, if you commit fraud, you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
That's being part of the team.
Your comment, and you touched on it actually now, your comment on the importance of collaboration.
Yeah. So really the only way forward is a facilitated community effort. We cannot do this by ourselves. You know, you take a look at the challenge in South Africa, whether it's infrastructural issues, political issues, societal issues, we just have to work together. If we don't work together, if we resist working together to make a difference, we're not going to be as effective. So the importance of community, Rianet, is more important now than it ever has been before. South Africa is entering into an incredibly tough position over the next year. We have to continue to talk.
Yeah. Your last comment to the FAnews audience, and maybe you can include things that really stood out for you in the report and things that you would really like to highlight, and then a message to our audience.
The centralized message from the Insurance Crime Bureau is to create an ethos of, if you see something, say something. You cannot sit back and not be part of the solution. You have to take responsibility in it. Don't forget, behind every crime, whether it is simplistic fraud, whether it is a physical crime, a murder, a rape, robbery, housebreaking, whatever it might be, there's a victim. There's a real person behind those statistics every single time. So it's incredibly important for us to continue the conversation, to continue to work together. We are looking forward to exploring opportunities in 2023 with new members, with new stakeholders, and also with other new interventions like the Insurance Apprentice that we're very excited about getting involved in next year, because it creates awareness and it trains the next generation of executives in South Africa. So we're really looking forward to 2023, lots of challenges, but also a lot of really exciting opportunities.
On your page, 100%. Thank you for your time, Garth, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks very much, Rianet. I look forward to that. Have a good one.